Okay, so we should be live
Hi,
now.
everyone. Yes, I see us on your YouTube.
Cool. So hello, everyone.
Pop out the chat. Awesome. Okay, I have the chat popped out. Hi, Hannah.
My computer's like frozen at the moment. Okay.
Oh no.
So I can like hear everything, but
You can't see?
well,
Oh, I'm echoing.
Stuck on this thing. Gabby, did you mute the
I did.
other one? Okay. Hi, Hannah. Okay, here we go. Much better.
Okay. Let me know if I'm echoing, guys, because I can hear it. No, actually, I can't hear it anymore. Nope, never mind.
I was gonna say you're good on my side anyway.
Okay. It was just really quick, I guess.
So I think we're gonna have different responses to the book. So everybody say what they thought
I
of the book.
I have a lot of thoughts. I hate that I don't have the cover. Well, you just can see by the book. I don't have the cover. It stopped echoing. Okay, perfect. I knew I was hearing something.
So what did we end up rating it?
I ended up rating it like a 3.
So
or 3.5 maybe, or a 3.
I think I'm doing a 3.75.
Oh wow, okay.
The more I sat down and like just read through it like all in big chunks, the better I liked it because I didn't have to have something bring me back to the story.
Yeah. I think so I did not like the first half, like at all. And then I liked the second half. So halfway through the book, I was gonna get rated a 2. But then,
oh my gosh, I thought it was that bad.
Okay, I can hear the echoing back again. That's so weird.
So you were gonna rate it a 2.
I was gonna rate it a 2, yeah. And then I read the second half and the story started to take on its own. I just felt like there was no originality to the plot. It was like a hodgepodge of different themes and ideas and plots that I've seen, basically creating one book. So she had stuff from the Duff. Have you seen the Duff? The movie?
I haven't. No.
Oh my god, you'd love it. It's so freaking cute. But if you watch the Duff, it's like I believe it's based on a book too, the Duff. I haven't read it. But she uses like basically like the guy friend kind of teaches her the ways of like relationships, and she falls for the guy. That's in the Duff. And then the John Tucker must die, and then at the very end the letters, it was too much like Laura Jean. I don't know, I just felt like there was no originality. Like all the idea, everything that I read we had seen in other books, and she just took pieces of other books and created this one.
So I definitely saw ties in with John Tucker Must Die.
Yeah.
I've never seen the Duff, so I can't compare it to that. I will say, like, it felt like it could be a movie because of how cinematic everything was and how like cutesy rom-com-y it was. But I like that aspect of it. Gabby, I can't hear you at all. Can you guys hear Gabby?
Okay.
Oh, now you're back.
I still hear the echo.
Hannah, let us know in the comments if we're echoing. Also, let me know what you rated it too.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cute. Like, I could see myself recommending this book to a younger audience, and I think that's where it is. This is definitely a younger spectrum of the young adult genre.
That's actually exactly what I was thinking. It was like borderline middle grade, kind of.
I think it's like it's not necessarily middle grade because I think like that would be a little bit too young because she is supposed to be 16. And I think that they wouldn't understand the vocabulary in this book.
That I had an issue with as well. Essentially, the author went on thesaurus.com. Like, I feel like she doesn't even know half the words she was using. She like wrote it, and then every other word was like thesaurus.com. How can I make this book sound smarter from Mary's perspective? Sorry.
But she used it all correctly, so she's not
She
like
did.
using it incorrectly.
That's true.
And I think it fits with the idea that it made her be more of an outsider, and I did like that part of it. Like, it did come off very pretentious, and like, I totally get that, but I think she's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, like, as annoying as it was to first read and being like, this isn't, no kid sounds like this, I think that's the point, is she was made to be an outsider because she was intelligent and because she grew up in a very different environment and a very different household, and their values are very different than a normal household.
Yeah.
So it fits the story. She was, oh no.
Yes. Hannah, honestly, I would have DNF'd it if it wasn't Muggle Studies and I had to have read it for the live show. I would have DNF'd it for sure. Like, within the first 3 chapters, I knew right away that I was like, no, this is just not for me. I felt old reading it. Like, I've read so many young adult novels and I've never felt out of place reading it. Like, I felt like, oh, this is geared towards me, like a 30-year-old, even though the main character is, it's a young adult. Like Capturing the Devil, for example, like the Illuminae files. I never once felt out of place reading them, but in this one, I felt so old. I was just like, damn, 24 is old.
So,
granted, it's coming from a 16-year-old comment, so fair enough.
So I fully believe that you can read any genre at any age, and
No,
you don't have to fall under that aspect. However, this is geared towards that audience, and I think we are just in the mindset that it should be geared toward us, and it's not. We're getting close to like the 30 age range.
Yeah.
It's not in the young adult section. That's new adult or adult at that point for that age range. So I think it's not fair to judge it too harshly based on that aspect.
No, I'm not.
But I will say, like, if you didn't go into that mindset of putting yourself into that, do you think if you read it at 16, you would find her pretentious?
If I read it at 16, I think I would really enjoy it.
But I also think you're supposed to not like her. I think she is supposed to be a unlikable character at the beginning.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't like her at 16 either. I'd be like, who does this girl think she is?
Right. But I like that we get to see her struggle through that and kind of find that she doesn't know it all type of thing, because I think she's supposed to be that know-it-all. And I really liked the parents. Oh
my God.
I liked their like evolution of things and like how they dealt with it. Like, I related a lot to the parents and like how you would deal with it.
Yeah, it's really funny because like the first half of the book, it felt like the family was putting on a show. Like the sisters were just like so prim and proper. And then her other sister, Cam, was just like, I don't know. It's just, and the parents, the way they spoke, like some of the things they said at dinner to Jasper. I think there's a quote. I did a lot of highlighting. Okay.
Oh boy.
A lot of highlighting. But there's a quote where they talk hang on, I gotta find it. Oh yeah. So it says, Dad raised both hands. Okay, Jasper, you know we have faith in your intellectual potential. A number of men have made important contributions in serious fields of study. If you work hard, there's no reason you can't keep up with the girls. Dad pretended not to see our mother's dubious expression. And I'm just like, WTF, he's like 10.
I love that though.
He's like 13. I was just like, what? You don't talk to your 13-year-old like that. But I guess it just goes with the mindset of like parents having super high expectations for their kids, even at a young age.
Right, and they're coming from an academic-based household.
Correct.
Both of their parents being PhDs,
Yeah.
both of them like being in the college special school type of thing. Like that's what they're around. So that's like normal for them type of thing.
Like I didn't hate that. I just thought it was really funny. Like it like made me just like crack up and roll my eyes like, what the hell?
Yep. So one thing is that I really enjoyed is that all of the characters were so fully fleshed out. Like even the side characters were fleshed out with their own personalities and their own motivations. I thought she did that really well.
Towards the end, yes.
Yeah. Well, we saw it progress naturally. It wasn't just like info dumpy at the beginning. So I liked that all of the siblings got fleshed out.
Yes.
All of the friends got fleshed out. The parents got fleshed out. And I loved the different boys that they met along the way that went into the guide. So many of them were so like irritating that I loved we got to see her like fire come out when dealing with it. And I'm like, yes, girl.
Yes.
And I was so entertained, like the pretentious guy at the football game.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I just like loved like all the little tidbits and like Niall. I loved her responses and her learning about men that way and like adding those notes and adding it up into her head of what she's seen in the books.
Yeah.
What did you think about all the literary references in this book?
I actually really liked it. I caught on to a lot of it, like the Shakespeare reference, Jane Eyre, Wuthering Heights, Pride and Prejudice, obviously the Jane Austen stuff. So yeah, I caught on to a lot. There were a few that I'm like, I've never read those books. I don't know those, but I definitely caught on to most of it, and I did like that.
So I haven't read, as I like to say, I haven't read a classic. I know I've read The Hobbit, but whatever. I haven't read like literary like what you think of. I've never read Jane Austen. I've never read David Copperfield. I've never read like all of the big name,
like Oliver Twist.
Yeah, I've never read like Dickens or like any classics.
Yeah, Great Expectations definitely came with like Mrs. Havisham.
Yeah, so I couldn't pick up on any of the literary aspects, but I could figure it out with context clues. So I liked that she was able to reference them and explain it to her friends and made it more like reader friendly for that age range of it being like thinking that 16-year-olds are going to read this. They haven't read all these classics, and she was able to do that.
And if you look in the back, it's all of the books that have been referenced. So Jane Eyre, Wuthering Heights. Some of these I haven't, like, I don't know. Moby Dick, I know. Scarlet Letter, obviously. Great Expectations. Oh, it doesn't have all the collection works of Jane Austen. Ask Jasper. He's the expert. I love that. Okay. So Hannah says, I read some reviews that said the book spoiled a lot of classic literature. Did you find that to be true? I mean, I know classics have been around for hundreds of years, so it seems fair to spoil some. Yeah, I didn't think, oh, that's cool. Do you see that?
Yeah, I just popped up there. Remember we talked about that last time? We should pop up people's stuff.
I mean, I guess like
I did find that
the end of like Anna Karenina. I don't think I'm saying that right. Am I saying that right? Anna Karenina?
Yeah.
Karenina.
It's that way.
Yeah. That definitely obviously has a spoiler. But well, I don't know. I think I don't think it's a big deal. I liked it. I didn't care about the spoilers.
So because I haven't read them, I think everybody knows about Mr. Darcy. I've never read that book, but I know of these Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy and Emma. Like, I've heard all those literary references just being in the literary world, that it didn't feel like spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say I definitely had a little bit of that twinge of being like, well, now I know that they're definitely shipped together type of thing, like reading through here, or like knowing who the bad guy was. And it's like, and so I was like, I get that may bug some people, but I feel like it is kind of fair since it is like a classic.
Yeah. Okay, Hannah, side note, completely off reference. You need to watch the Lizzie Bennet Diaries on YouTube.
I think you've had me watch some of them before.
Okay, it is a spoof on Pride and Prejudice. It is so freaking good. It is much older now, obviously, but it is so good. I think there are 100 episodes and they're each like 3 to 5 minutes, 3 minutes ish. And it goes through all of the characters. Like, it's hilarious. It's a modern day twist. It's a modern day twist of Pride and Prejudice, and it's hilarious. It's so good. But yeah, it has like Darcy. So yeah. Anyways, that was a side note. For any guys out there, I recommend it.
So what did you not like about this that made you almost DNF it? Or Hannah, what turned you off that made you DNF it? You said you didn't vibe with the writing style, but what does that mean?
I personally thought the writing style was really choppy. There was no like flow. It just like a scene ended and then you went on to the next scene. Like, you can tell a writer's sophistication like in their novels with like how they transition in between scenes. And you can just tell this was a debut novel. Like, I didn't know it was a debut novel until I was like reading it and I'm like, I have a feeling this is a debut novel. And then it's a debut novel. Did you know it was a debut novel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess I missed that mark. But yeah, I just thought the writing was really juvenile. I just thought that like some of the like pretentious words, just like, even though she used them correctly, it just like, like, why? I don't know.
I think it's character development. I think it wasn't necessarily a poor writing choice. I think it was more so just a style choice to like if she used it as a personality trait.
Correct. It was just like Hannah wrote, it was very much Mary's inner dialogue.
Yeah.
But I really loved the theme of friendship in this book. I loved the theme of owning one's mistakes and apologizing for it. I thought that was a really good theme, and you don't see that very often. I also liked the little drama. Like, there was no big, massive breakup. Like, yes, there was like 10 pages where the friends kind of weren't really talking. But then when Mary went up to Arden and, Terry and Lydia and they're like, oh, now you're talking to us? Like, why'd you ghost us? Like, I kind of liked that. I liked their reaction. Like, instead of them being mad at her, they were like, where'd you go? Like, we were looking for you. Like, why don't you want to hang out with us anymore? Like, what happened?
I was reading it and I was thinking, I was like, oh God, Gabby is gonna roast this book because the biggest trope in here is miscommunication, and that's like your grind when that happens.
Yeah, but I think it was done well.
Okay.
I actually thought it was done well. Because she like owned up to it. And it took her like not very long to figure it out.
What about the whole boy thing with the miscommunication with the boy?
I think it was fine too, because they didn't necessarily break up because they weren't ever together.
Oh boy,
I don't know. I thought it was done well. I was put off by it.
So one of my flaws that I didn't like about the book was that it was so obvious. Like, there was no mystery about where the plot line was going. It was way too in your face about it, and I needed a little bit more complexity to the story. So what's the guy's name?
Alex.
Okay. As soon as the whole Alex has a girlfriend thing, I was like, oh God. And for the entire, like, from that scene where she was measuring him, I knew that was not his girlfriend. I didn't know it was the sister, but I knew it was not the girlfriend. And I was like, oh my God, just ask him if it's his girlfriend and you'll figure it out. Like, I was so over it by the point that she had figured out it was not his girlfriend that I was like, it could have been solved like 100 years ago if you just would have asked. Like, asked anybody.
Well, Arden thought it was his girlfriend too. She's the one who told her.
No.
No? Oh, I missed that.
Because the whole interaction was that she thought he was a player at first because she had met him twice and she didn't remember, or he didn't remember her. And then saw them at the there was an interaction and she was like, no, stay away from him. He would just hit on anything, basically. And then they ran into each other at the theater. And then he was just there. And then she was like, oh, and now he has a girlfriend and like all of that stuff. And so I'm just like, oh my God, can we just ask him, please? I did love all of the representation in this, though.
What?
I was very pleasantly surprised with all the representation of this. Mm-hmm. So I picked up, like, I love, obviously, that we have same-sex couple in this book. And that they made it very open and, like, being like, it's not a big deal that her sister was. And then also Lydia was like, I don't care if it's a boy or girl. And they're like, okay, cool. I love that it was just like nonchalant about that. And then I also, at the end, I took away, and I could just be reading into this, but that Terry was ace. That's or ace romantic. And so I was really pleasantly surprised. I wish it would have been a little bit more on the nose with it. So they had the proper representation of being like, this is what I am, versus being like tiptoeing around it. But I kind of took that as that's okay because they are figuring it out. Mm-hmm. That she was figuring out if that was what she was or not. And that her friends were accepting.
Not sure if like it's what she should be feeling, kind of thing.
Yeah. But I was really, really surprised that was woven in there because I was expecting no diversity in this. And so I was like, wow, I'm really glad that like this is part of the story type of thing.
Yeah, I really liked it. I liked how the entire group was very eclectic group, and like they're all four so different. And I have to say, Terry's like murderous comments throughout the entire book, I loved. Yes. Just like how she always had to interject something about like a murder, like you know what I mean, like a
her forensic anthropology coming in.
Yes. Like I just thought it was so funny. I was always laughing. She was just like a random. She didn't talk much, and when she did, it was just like a random like, or he could be a sociopath. Like something.
It could be duct tape in the backpack.
Yeah, when Arden talks about like the bag in the car, and she was like, "What if it's a body?" Don't ever let a guy take you to a second location.
Yep. And same with Lydia. I really liked Lydia and her like lawyer-esque of being like straightforward to the point, like almost intimidating. I loved that aspect of it.
I did too. I actually really liked, I thought it was going to be very Mean Girl. Like there was I was afraid that Arden and Lydia were like conniving and that there was going to be a huge blow up and like that it was going to be Mean Girls type of. And I'm actually really happy it wasn't. I'm glad that we focused on friendship. Not a lot of books focus on the friendship aspect. A lot of books focus on the romance, but it's refreshing to see friendship being. And she even mentions, I think there's a quote where she talks to Doug, is it? And he was like, is it about a boy? And she's like, no, it's not about the boy. She's like, it's about my friends.
Yep. So I could definitely see this being turned into a like Netflix adaptation, just like To All the Boys.
So cute. It would be really cute. It's cute. It's really cute. for my age, or like where I am in my life right now, my personal taste, it it wasn't for me, but I think I would recommend it for someone in their teens, younger. It was cute. I still
Like,
stand by the fact that I felt like the plot didn't necessarily have originality to it. It is something that we have seen already. And like you said, it was very obvious, but it was cute.
I'm like imagining recommending this to like a book nerd who is shy and like 13 and like just going into
Yeah.
high school. Like they would eat this
Yes.
up.
I
Like they
think,
would love that.
yeah.
I'm really like any 13-year-old girl who likes like romancy books. Like, yeah, that's not going to be too sexual because I get that in all the time of being like, recommend me a book that it has a little bit of romance, but it can't be too. And I'm like, would be perfect.
It really would. I love how like when she comes in and she's crying and the mom's like, "It's okay. It's okay. It's okay."
Yes.
And then she sends the dad away and she's like, "No, mom, we just kissed." Oh, thank God. Okay. And then she calls, "It's not about sex."
But I love that it was sex positive. Like
Yes.
it was like she started off being like, as long as it was consenting, like it's okay. And I was like, this is the information we need to give young people. Like,
Yes. It wasn't slut shaming.
yeah.
So,
I really like that message. So
agreed.
overall, I really like it was a cute, easy read book. Definitely not for my age range, but it for the age range that it's geared towards, I think it's so adorable. I would say,
book.
as much as I love this cover, this is the same art style of new adult, and I wish they would change the art style a little bit so it's geared towards younger. But I can see why that's confusing because the cartoony aspect of these covers are maybe more geared towards younger audiences. But if you look in the publishing world, this is what the new adult looks like. Like,
Yes.
so that makes it a little bit confusing on what the age range is on this. And I wish they would have made a different choice, but I like the cover. I just think it's a little bit of a bait and switch.
It's cute. It's really cute. Oh, there's also going back to like, okay, I went to a really large high school. So, and I was shy. I did have friends though. But I wasn't like popular or anything by no means. And I did a lot. I did read a lot. But there is a quote where she doesn't know what the word player means. She says, I made a vague noise in the back of my throat, resolving to ask my brother what player means. And I'm just like, how do you not know what that word means? I don't understand. Like, I feel like,
Well,
like, is she really that, like, I'm like, are you really that necessarily sheltered or that,
I
you
will
still
say
have to
this.
live day to day. I don't know.
I made friends with someone who was homeschooled.
Okay.
And she would come to the school for extracurriculars like band that they obviously couldn't do at their like during homeschool, but she was still homeschooled for most of her classes. But she would come for like band and she would be in like the school for that. So I made friends with her and she was very similar on the
Okay.
I don't know those terms because my
Okay.
family is not using those terms. And usually that like well in that particular case her family was religious. So she wasn't associated with people who would be using those terms. So as far-fetched as it seems for kids to not know those things, there is still that option of people not knowing them.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I was kind of like, I feel like she's reaching with like that, but fair enough, like you said.
How do you think you would feel about this exact premise, except making it more like making it new adult? So putting her in college instead of high school, and say instead of like kissing, but having sex for the first time, but never having a boyfriend in high school. So she's still that inexperienced leading or learning from the literary guides. Kind of. I mean, that's basically it, right?
I'm telling you, there's no originality.
Except she doesn't lean on literary fiction or literary
That's
examples.
True. Very true. Yeah, I would love it. I would need something a little bit more fresh. But yes, I think that would be really great. You need to watch The Duff. You need to watch that movie.
So what would you have changed about it to make it more original?
I don't know. I'm not very creative, so I feel bad being so critical because I'm like I couldn't write something better. So
we don't pretend we're authors here.
yes. I honestly, maybe it's just because it's so hard nowadays. Like everything's been written. It's hard to find something new. But I did change my tune. I did say the second half I thought was really good. Like the characters started taking on the role of their own. The parents like grew more to be parents.
So then what killed it for you in the beginning?
I think just the fact that like the plot was kind of like I've seen it before, essentially. That was really it. Like I just not necessarily stealing. I don't like to use that word. Because she didn't
too closely.
She didn't steal or plagiarize or anything. Hey, can you turn on the light? Sorry. Much better. She didn't steal or plagiarize. It was just like I don't know. It was too much John Tucker. And then all of a sudden it was from the movie The Duff. And then it was a little bit of Mean Girls. A little bit. And then it was like I don't know. The letter thing at the end, I was like, that is like straight up the ending of To All the Boys I've Loved Before. When she's like, oh yeah, what?
That's the beginning.
No, where she hands him a letter, like with her how she feels at the very end. Like she writes letters to boys, she never mails them, and then at the very end, she can't tell him her true feelings, so she gives him a letter.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah. It is like on point with that, the ending to All the Boys I've Loved Before.
I kind of liked like that aspect of it, to be honest.
No, it was cute. It was cute. It was cute.
Well, I think it fits her very well.
Yes, absolutely.
So, like for Laura Jean, writing the letter makes sense because that's kind of how it all started. So that felt very full circle.
Yes.
Now this feels very her characteristics because she doesn't know how to talk to boys and she was very inexperienced.
Yeah,
and that's what she's pulled from her books that they do. So it made sense for her character development to do that as well.
What do we think of Bo? Jasper's little friend.
I again saw that coming a mile away, and I was just like, oh my.
I'm like, he has a crush on her.
Oh yeah. I do like that it's like the exact age difference between her and Alex.
Yeah.
Although I would say that Alex didn't feel like a senior to me. I wish she would have just kept Alex be the same age as her. Because until they pointed that out, I was like, oh, they're different ages.
Yeah.
Did you think that he acted like a senior to her sophomore?
I think she made a comment about him being older, but I didn't think he was a senior. He seemed more like maybe junior.
So he's supposed to be.
He didn't seem like this was his last year of high school.
No.
Because like they never talked about college. They never talked about, because most seniors talk about like, oh, where are you going next year? What are you doing? Like, what college are you going to? What are your plans after high school? That was never mentioned.
Yeah.
So it seemed odd that he was a senior.
I think like if they were both 16, granted, yeah, she definitely needed him to be a little bit older because she went to him for advice about dating.
Yeah.
So maybe if they would have set it in the place of her being a freshman and him being a junior, that would be a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then they would have like one more year together.
Yeah, I kind of wish they had one more year. What did you think? I thought it was really funny how, like, when she confronted her sister and she was like, Phoebe's dating someone. And then her sister was like, it's obvious Alex likes you. And they mentioned how, like, he's not the cutest guy in the world. But from Mary's perspective, she thinks he's so cute and handsome and attractive. But like I thought that was I like that. Like seeing it from like he's not like apparently he's not the hottest guy in school. Like from Mary's perspective, we think he's the hottest guy and like the player and the popular boy of the school. And turns out he's not.
Yes. No, I really like that too, that everybody looks at everybody differently.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really accurate to point out in high school, because I think you always see like, well, they're the jock, and you know, like you only see that they're like the king of the school type of thing.
Mm-hmm. I also really liked how he kept surprising her. Like, I wasn't wearing my contacts. I take piano lessons.
Mm-hmm. And that he actually reads and made literary references as well.
Yes. I liked that. So it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. It was a solid 3. Like I said, 3.5. Like once the characters started getting some development and I got used to the writing style and the plot started to progress a little bit, I kind of liked it.
Yeah, it's definitely not one that I will reread, but it's definitely one that I will recommend to people.
Also, the dance, like everyone gets brokenhearted at the school dance, so tropey.
But not everybody.
That's true.
Lydia and Pitya.
Yeah.
And Cam and
I like that. Jeff,
yeah.
What was Arden's boyfriend's name? Miles, right?
Mm-hmm.
I saw that coming from a mile away as well.
Oh, yeah.
I actually assumed he'd be cheating.
I kind of wished that Lydia was gay, though. And we had a little bit more drama there. Because that's what, like, I was picking up, and I was like, oh. Like, it's just because she didn't want her friend to be left out that she was trying to find her boyfriend. I wanted there to be, like, a budding romance-esque there.
Interesting. I didn't get the vibe that, like, with Lydia.
Well, she even said, she was like, I was jealous, but then I realized how dumb that was.
Yeah, but she was jealous that she felt like she was losing her friend.
Yeah. I just wish that there was, like, because I love gay characters.
Yes.
And representation. I would have liked it to be like, Arden was trying to set up Lydia because she didn't want her to be alone, and she wanted her boyfriend to work out, and then come to realize, like, that Lydia was jealous of Miles because she had a thing for Arden, and that, like, made Arden open up and could potentially be bi, and she started exploring that. Like, I would have liked that.
Yeah, that actually would have been really good. I would have liked that too.
But then, like, if that would have fell through, then the whole friend group could have fallen through.
Yeah. Who was your favorite of the 4 girls?
Oh, Terry by far.
Really?
Yeah.
Mine was
because I like the little snippets, but I did like Lydia too.
I liked Arden too. I very much liked her. She had a very strong personality.
Arden felt like she was trying so hard through the whole thing that I was just like, ease up, girl. Like, you're fine. Not everybody has to be coupled off.
Yes. But she was always trying to do good in her end.
Yeah, and I did like that she was like the forerunner, being like, let's bring Mary into the group. Like, we're going to include her, because that wasn't necessary. And she, like, went out of her way to, like, have her in the group.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, I think I commented on that section. I was like, I can't tell if they're sincere or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad they were. I'm really glad that it worked out. And I hate that everyone was like, "Oh, you have friends?" Yes, I have friends. Um, do you have anything else?
What do you think about and Julie?
Oh my God, she's horrendous. She is just horrible.
What do you think about how they like actually ended their friendship?
I was actually okay with that. I really hope that they didn't. I mean, once again, it's kind of like tropey, like you have that friend and then you end up not being friends anymore. But it sounds like they were never actually friends.
Right? Well, and so I was like, I could have done without that. Like, I felt like that was tying it up a little too neatly in a bow for me.
I
I wish
agree.
they would have just like left it as like, and Julie was jealous that she made actual friends and left the
Yes.
birthday party, realizing that like she would moved on without her, and then just like left it at that.
I agree. I agree. I think that would have been great. Like, leave it at that as well. Especially like the scene with Alex at the trivia night, and she like comes in
I love
between them.
that response.
I was just like, this girl's ballsy.
Oh yeah, especially for like a sophomore saying that to a senior. Like, I'm sorry if I dated older guys when I was a sophomore. I was like dating a senior, and I never would have done that. No.
No. I was like, this girl, who does she think she is? Oh my gosh, she's so bad.
But I loved Alex's response to that.
Oh yeah, I did too. I thought that was really funny. Um, I'm going through my notes. I feel like we've talked about everything.
Well,
Oh, what?
go ahead.
No. I think that's. Oh, what did you think of her diary entries?
I liked that. So that's why I didn't feel like the pacing wasn't too far off for me, because I liked that we got to see insights into Mary's literary references of what's going on in her head, and that like was enough of a breakaway to transition into the next piece for me.
Yeah. Um, I thought some of them were random, some of them weren't cohesive, and some of them went well. So I'm like, about them. Like, I'm indifferent.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know how, so we were talking about the names of her sisters. I don't know what books they're from. Like
It
Vanessa?
mentioned it, it it mentions all in there what author is. It's because
Okay.
all from one author, I think.
Okay. So I'm like, I don't know any classics with the character named Vanessa. I don't know. I can't think of anyone. And then Cam, I don't know if that's short for Cameron or if she
I
just goes
think
by
so.
Cam. I don't know. Let me know if you find it. Well, comment, guys, if you know where her sisters' names are from.
Oh, that's going to bother me.
I can't, yeah. But it's funny because, like, Mary is actually a name from Jane Austen. So it's one of the sisters' names. So it's funny how she hates her name when her name is from a Jane Austen novel. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. But we do have our next pick for
Yes,
which is Beach Read. I'm very excited. I've heard nothing but good things. So I'm very excited to read this. I think this is going to be on like red, white, and royal blue level, although I have heard that it's not as smutty as we're, I think, expecting. And that it's a little bit more of a no, it's more of a deeper backstory filled romance, not just like smut level. But I've heard really good things about this, so I'm really excited to read this one next. We also have another announcement that the J. Kristoff. Hey! So Hannah just said she is wearing the same shirt. And we have the same name.
That's so funny.
So we have another announcement that the J. Kristoff book has now been officially pushed back to 2021.
Oh, dang it.
Yes. So if you have any suggestions, tweet at us or let us know what our next one is. We would preferably like it to include more diversity with everything going on with Black Lives Matter. We wanted to include more diversity into our book club lineup and have some representation. We have already had some representation in it, but we wanted to make more of a conscious effort to include it. And since we've already picked out the rest of our reads, that one is opening up. We would like it to include more diversity. So leave us a comment down below. Yeah, we're sad about the Empire of Empire as well. But leave us a comment down below or tweet at us if you have any recommendations of what we should do for that. I believe that was for our September pick. So, and it can be backlist. It just can't be one that we've already read, preferably. So let us know down below. But that one is going to be our June one, which I think we will fly through. Just because of the type of book it is. So that one will be at the end of June over on Gabby's channel that we will be reviewing and doing our live show on. Is there any other closing notes you want to talk about?
No, I'm good. I think this was a good live show. We had a lot to talk about.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you guys all for watching, and we will see you guys in about, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.